All right. Today is Block 40. Almost there, not too many days left in the semester. Today, you are going to watch the Volume Day 1 notes, which we are going to go through together. You will play the Prisms and Cylinders Gimkit, the Pyramids and Cones Booklet. Those will be linked in Schoology. And then you will complete the Volume Day 1 worksheet. Today is the first day of our new unit, volume. Volume is defined as the amount of space inside a three-dimensional figure. Right, so we're no longer just looking at the area of a two-dimensional figure and finding the area of that square or rectangle. Instead, we are looking at a three-dimensional figure. For example, the amount of water that can fill a fish tank. That is a representation of volume. The amount of sand that can fit in a bucket, that is a representation of volume. We will explore 6 different types of shapes: prisms, cylinders, pyramids, and cones. That's what day 1 is. Then we will look at spheres and hemispheres and cubes next class. A prism is a solid with 2 congruent parallel bases. Congruent parallel bases. So in those 3 pictures to the right, you can see triangular prism has a base of a triangle. Those 2 triangles are parallel and congruent. Parallel and congruent. Rectangular prism, those rectangles are parallel and congruent. The segment that connects the 2 bases is called the height. So the distance between my 2 bases here. Here's my triangle, here's my triangle. The distance between those is the height. Here's my rectangle, here's my rectangle. Those are my bases. The distance between them is the height. Each lateral face of a prism is a rectangle. This is not really something that's going to be that big for us, but each face is a rectangle. No matter what shape the base is, right? Whether it's a triangle, a rectangle, or a pentagon, all of the lateral faces are rectangles. To find the volume of a prism, we have the formula. Volume is equal to area of the base times the height. B represents the area of one of the bases. So if I'm looking at this triangular prism and I wanted to find the volume, I would first find the area of the base. So I would find the area of that triangle. And then I would multiply it by the height. If I was finding the volume of this rectangular prism, I would find the area of the base and multiply the height. For a rectangular prism, it becomes length times width times height, but I would prefer if we used base times height. Area of the base times the height. Find the volume of each rectangular prism. What's very important to do first is identify the base. In a rectangular prism, any side can be the base. It does not matter. We just need to pick 2 sides that are parallel to each other and are congruent to each other for our bases. So I am going to call this rectangle right here our base. This is going to be our base. And then you can't see it because of the diagram, but on the bottom, there is a rectangle that would be our other base. The dimensions of this base, 3 by 6. And I get that from down here. So in order to find the volume, I need to find the area of the base and I need to multiply the height. The area of the base. Well, the base is a rectangle with dimensions 3 by 6. 3 times 6. That's how we find the area of the base. And then we are going to multiply our height. 8. 8 is the distance between these two bases. Volume is equal to 144 feet cubed. In area, it was units squared, so feet squared. In volume, it's units cubed, feet cubed. Okay, for the next one, I'm again going to identify which side I want to be my base. You can pick any of them. I'm going to pick that side on the right. That rectangle is my base. I know the dimensions of that rectangle, 2 by 5. I know that's 5 because this side right here is also 5. So my base is a 2 by 5 rectangle, and the distance between the bases is 10. Because again, over here I have another base. Volume is equal to area of the base times the height. Area of the base would be 2 times 5 times the height, 10. 2 times 5 times 10, volume is equal to 100 centimeters cubed. For that last one, I'll let you explore it, but you get that the volume is equal to 420 inches cubed. Identify the base, find the area of the base, then multiply it by the height. Those are rectangular prisms. Rectangular prisms are definitely the easiest one that we're going to see. Triangular prisms, we use the same formula. It's still a prism, except now the base is a triangle. The bases are triangles. So in order to find the volume of this triangular prism, I still need to find the area of the base, and I need to multiply it by the height. Let's identify the base. I know that the base is a triangle because this is a triangular prism. I identify this base. This is a triangle with either a base length of 8 or 5 and a height of 8 or 5. And so if I just wanted to draw this base out, I could. There's my base. In order to find the area of that, we have base times height, 8 times 5, divided by 2. Do not forget to divide this by 2. It is a triangle. So we have this base here. We have our other base down there. Three-dimensional figure. What's the distance between those? 3. 3 is our height. Multiply by 3. Volume is equal to 8 times 5 divided by 2 times 3, 60 centimeters cubed. Doesn't matter if we're looking at a rectangular prism or a triangular prism, which those are the only two types of prisms that we are going to look at. You are always going to be using the same formula. Volume is equal to area of the base times the height. Now I want you to try problem 5 for a moment. I will identify the base for you. It's a triangular prism. Your bases are triangles. Go ahead, pause the video, take a second to work through this. Okay, volume is equal to the area of the base times the height. Area of the base. This triangle, we can clearly see it. I know that this base is 10, so if I wanted to draw it out, I could, but I can just see it right here. Base of 10 and a height of 8.3. So to find the area of that, base times height, 8.3, divided by 2, times the distance between these two triangles. Distance between these two triangles is 14. 10 times 8.3 times 14, you get that the volume is equal to 581 centimeters cubed. And that's all the prisms that we are going to look at. Again, they all use the same formula. Volume is equal to base, area of the base times the height. Okay, moving on. Cylinders. A cylinder is a solid figure with two congruent circular bases that are parallel. Congruent circular bases. I want you to think right now, what makes two circles congruent? Two circles are congruent if they have the same radius. So these are two circles with the same radius. They are parallel to each other. This is a cylinder. The distance between those two is the height. Doesn't matter if it's on the outside or if it's right in the middle of the picture. The distance between those two circles is the height. To find the volume of a cylinder, you're using the same formula. Volume is equal to area of the base times height, except now the area of the base is pi r squared because our base is a circle. So volume is equal to the area of the base times the height, but instead of writing area of the base, we can write pi r squared times height, because pi r squared is how we find the area of a circle. Volume is equal to area of the base times the height. The base is a circle with a radius of 7. Pi times 7 squared, pi r squared, times the height. The distance between these two circles is 11 times 11. Simplify this a little bit. 7 squared is 49. So you have 49 pi times 11. If we wanted to leave this in terms of pi, we would just multiply 49 pi and 11. But in this case, it doesn't specify, so we can just round it. Volume is equal to 1,693.32 meters cubed. Area of the base. Base is a circle with a radius of 7 and a height of 11. Next example. Volume is equal to area of the base times the height. Area of the base. If you said this and you started writing this down and you said pi times 8 squared times 15, I want you to just think for a moment why that would be wrong. Is 8 the radius of that circle? No, it's the diameter. Right? When we're using area, we do not want to use the diameter. We only want to use the radius. Pi r squared times height, the distance between those two circles. Volume is equal to 16 pi times 15. If we wanted to leave our answer in terms of pi, you would multiply 16 and 15, but it's not specified in this case, so volume is equal to 753.98 kilometers cubed. Volume of a cylinder. Identify the radius, identify the height. You just need those two things in order to find the volume of a cylinder. Next two examples are the same thing. Problem 12, if you're going through it, make sure that you are not using the diameter. Take a moment right now, go through those. Pause the video if you have to. For the first one, volume is equal to 1,539.38 centimeters cubed. And then for problem 13, the answer is volume is equal to 3,015.93 centimeters cubed. Don't worry about problem 14. It's a word problem. We're going to look at more word problems next class. So that's how we find prisms and cylinders. The volume for both is area of the base times the height. Finding the area of the base is what's going to be different about each of these problems. Moving on to pyramids. A pyramid has one base. All of the lateral faces are triangles, no matter what the base is. In this case, the base is a rectangle or a square, and each of the lateral faces is a triangle. But that's not going to be too important for us. The lateral faces all meet at one point. They all go up, up, up to one point. That point is the vertex. We will look at square pyramids and rectangular pyramids. A square pyramid has one base and it's shaped like a square, and that's why we call it a square pyramid. Same thing with a rectangular pyramid. Same thing with a triangular pyramid. They have the shape, their shape of the base is the same as the name. Right? So just like prisms, when we called something a rectangular prism and its base was a rectangle, or a triangular prism and its base was a triangle, square pyramid has a base of a square. Rectangular pyramid has the base of a rectangle. To find the volume of a pyramid, you use the formula 1/3 area of the base times height. Area of the base times height, that is our formula for prisms. A pyramid is 1/3 of a prism with the same dimensions. So if we're finding the volume of a pyramid, 1/3 the volume of a prism. So 1/3 area of the base times the height. Okay, area of the base. This is a triangular pyramid that has dimensions. Base is 5. Height of that pyramid, height not of the pyramid. Height of the base is 4. 1/3 times area of the base. Base is 5, height is 4. 5 times 4 divided by 2 times the height of the pyramid. from the base, perpendicular, all the way up to the vertex. That is our height. And the height of this pyramid is 8. Reducing some things, right? I'm just going to leave 1/3 as is right now. 5 times 4, 20, divided by 2, 10, times 8. 1/3 times 10 times 8. Volume is equal to 26.667 yards cubed. One-third area of the base times the height. Take a moment right now to work through this example. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, volume is equal to area of the base, 1/3 area of the base times the height. Area of the base is a triangle with a base of 20 and a height of 14. How do you find the area of that? 20 times 14 divided by 2 times the height of the entire pyramid, perpendicular to the base to the vertex, 15. 15. Volume is equal to 1/3, 20 times 14 divided by 2, 140 times 15. And this is something where if you just wanted to put that into your calculator, you're more than welcome to. I'm just reducing it a little bit so you can see, right? 20 times 14 divided by 2 is 140. Volume is equal to 700 millimeters cubed. Triangular pyramids are a bit tougher just because you have to remember that you're finding the area of a triangle base. Square pyramids, on the other hand, or rectangular pyramids, are kind of quicker. Right? Your base is a square or a rectangle. In this case, it's a square. So volume is equal to 1/3 area of the base. Base is a square, 6 times 6, times the height of this pyramid, 8. 1/3 times 6 times 6 times 8. Volume is equal to 96 inches cubed. Yes, we can see a right triangle in this problem, but that's not going to be something that we have enough time to cover. Talking about slant height, what if we're only given that side? That's not something that we're going to see. If you want to talk about that, we can talk about that further. Find the volume. It's a square pyramid. Square pyramid. That side is 10 as well. Volume is equal to 1/3 times 10 times 10, area of the base, times the height. Now, what some of you might say is, oh, the height is 13. The reason, because that's the distance from the base to the vertex. Yes, that is the distance from part of the base to the vertex. However, height is always perpendicular. Perpendicular, our height is 12. 1/3 times 10 times 10 times 12. Volume is equal to 400 meters cubed. If you want to take a second right now to go through problem 9, please feel free. Pause the video if you need to. Volume is equal to 192 centimeters cubed. Square base, 1/3, 8 times 8 times the height, 9. Okay. Pyramid is 1/3 of a prism. On to the last shape that we are looking at today, cones. A cone is a solid with one circular base and a vertex. Circular base, and any line goes right up to the vertex. The height, radius, and slant height, radius, and then slant height would be on the lateral face, does create a right triangle, but again, as I mentioned, we will not have enough time to look at these problems where we're given the slant height or we're given the radius, and it involves the Pythagorean theorem. Or it could involve trig as well. But we're not going to have enough time to look at that. The formula of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared times height. Pi r squared times height, hopefully that rings a bell because we already saw it on the 3rd page of this notes. That's how we find the volume of a cylinder. So just as a pyramid was 1/3 of a prism, a cone is 1/3 of a cylinder. So to find the volume of a cone, 1/3 times pi r squared times height. Now, just like cylinders, we only need two things: radius, height. Volume is equal to 1/3 times area of the base, pi r squared. Radius is 3 pi times 3 squared times from the base to the vertex and perpendicular. That's our height, 12. 1/3 times pi r squared. Volume is equal to 1/3 times 9 pi times 12. Doesn't say to leave it in terms of pi, so leaving this as a decimal, 113.097 centimeters cubed. One-third pi r squared times height, the volume formula of a cone. Then the last one that we got today, problem 2. I would like you to give this a try. Please pause the video, take a second to look at this problem. Volume is equal to 1/3 times pi r squared, my radius is 4, times my height, 8. Volume is equal to 1/3 times 16 pi times 8. Doesn't say to leave it as, leave it in terms of pi, so we can round it 134.04 inches cubed. And we'll skip this word problem for now. We should have time next class to look at them. Okay, you have reached the end. Your formulas are as follows. Volume of a prism is equal to the area of the base times the height. Volume of a cylinder is equal to the same, area of the base times the height, but we can write it as pi r squared times height. Volume of a pyramid is 1/3 of a prism. 1/3 area of the base times the height. And the volume of a cone is 1/3 the volume of a cylinder. Volume is equal to 1/3 times pi r squared times height. Write this down, take a screenshot, whatever you got to do. you are going to be using these on the Gimkit, on the Bookit, and then on the worksheet. So right now, if you go into Schoology, you will see the Prisms and Cylinders Gimkit. There's a link to that. Then the Pyramids and Cones Bookit. Those are 2 in-class assignments. Go through them on your iPad. When you are done with those, work on the Volume Day 1 worksheet. That Volume Day 1 worksheet is homework. The Gimkit and Bookit is most likely going to be graded and put in the gradebook. So use your time wisely the rest of class today. If you have any questions at all, please send me an email. I will be probably around my laptop at some points, so if you need something, just let me know. I hope you all have a great rest of your day and a great weekend, and I will see you all next week on Monday.